Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, you can see I'm camping again. This is definitely not a green screen or anything like that. Anyways, we're going to start out by talking about PSP emulation with the best PSP emulator out there, PPSSPP. And PPSSPP just released version 1.18. So the big thing for version 1.18 is for iOS. They say here, iOS support is now official and has been greatly improved compared to old side-loaded builds. It's now nearly feature complete, only missing microphone emulation and a few minor UX things like easily setting a background image in the menu. A lot of iOS-specific optimizations have been implemented to keep performance as good as possible, even though we can't use JIT, and that alone is extremely impressive. For those who may be unaware, JIT stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Just-in-Time Compilation, depending on how you wanted to interpret that. At a super high level, some emulators use JIT to really help out performance. It can make the emulator not run so great to an emulator running really well. Dolphin is a perfect example of this. Now, for some reason on the App Store, Apple doesn't allow apps to use JIT. So not using JIT and performing with PPSSPP, in my opinion, is very important and also impressive. Now, on top of that, not specific to iOS, version 1.18 also brings about a bunch of great stuff. For example, a lot of potential crashes have been fixed both in-game and in the UI. A number of rendering and video playback problems have been fixed. More mappable actions, the axis swap feature has been fixed. UI changes, game info can be reached in-game, and you can install save games directly from zip files. The Android VR build got an immersive mode, which makes better use of the built-in motion compensation and many other fixes. If you wanted to pick up this version of PPSSPP, it's already up on their website, but there are a couple of things here. If you're on Android and already have it installed via Google Play, your update will arrive within a week. And for iOS, and this is super interesting and also a little weird, iOS will also receive the update on the App Store. However, the App Store review process has been problematic recently. If this continues, a lengthy write-up is coming, so it may take quite a long time before it's up, unfortunately. So it seems that for PPSSPP on iOS, the best way to load it is to sideload it. Next up, we're talking about Simple Launcher. Now, Simple Launcher is not an emulator, it's an emulator front end, and it's designed to basically be a one-stop shop for emulators. It works with your emulators, works with your ROMs, organizes everything in one nice place, and tries to make things easy. Their tagline here is Simple Launcher is an emulator front end that makes playing retro games a breeze. And you guessed it, Simple Launcher just got a brand new update. At the time of filming, Simple Launcher version 3.4 is the latest update. They say here they've added a new menu item called Tools, and in it you can find tools related to emulation. For example, a tool to create batch files for PS3 games, a tool to create batch files for ScumVM games and Windows games, and they've added a tool to organize system images. And additionally here, and I think this one's important, they've improved the updater application. It will always automatically install the latest version of Simple Launcher, even if the parameters provided are invalid. Next up, we're talking about the Super Sega. Now, the Super Sega is supposed to be an upcoming FPGA console designed to play a whole bunch of different Sega games from different consoles. And the Super Sega has been met with a bunch of controversy. We've talked about it in previous videos. At a high level here, people have looked at the PCB they showcased and don't think it's real. People have seen the gameplay they showcased and don't think it's real, myself included, considering there were some very weird cuts. And taking a look here, they put out a new video to prove the doubters wrong here, and well, it's just, in my opinion, made even more doubt. If you are curious about this one, like everything I talk about, link will be in the description below right at the bottom. This video starts out with the main face behind the Super Sega driving in a Lambo. I don't know if this is rented or his actual Lambo here, but at the same time, it's a very weird way to start a video when you're asking for people to support you to build this product. From there, he goes into his apartment. There's a lot of heavy breathing throughout the entire video as he's behind the camera, and the camera is shaky. It's zooming in on a bunch of different things. It's just all over the place, in focus, out of focus. It's kind of, in my opinion, a headache to watch. Anyways, he tries to showcase this thing up and running. The fan on this is very loud. And on top of that, the audio isn't working for the games. I think it works towards the end, but for most of the video, the audio is not working. He goes behind the TV. The TV has a whole bunch of paint on it for some reason. Anyways, he tries to show that this is the thing that's actually playing the games. But I mean, here's an example of the footage that I'm talking about. This is, in my opinion, a pretty hard watch. I don't know about you, but I just think they could have done a lot better job here to showcase everything. It's just, it's such a weird thing. Now, here's the look behind the TV I was talking about with the weird paint on the TV. I'm not going to judge here, whatever. Maybe it was some sort of painting accident. But this is a good example of the footage throughout the video. To me, it's just super hard to focus. At some point, he's got to reset this console with an Allen key. It's just, the whole thing is weird. I mean, yes, I understand the point of it, trying to showcase the console up and running and that it's not fake and that it is the real deal. But at the same time here, it's just, it's something. Let me know your thoughts about this one. The kicker behind it all is that he's actually got a tripod. I mean, if you don't believe me, about 9 minutes and 34 seconds in, we get the glimpse of the tripod with a phone mount and everything. And I think he's filming this one on a phone. Anyways, here, let me know your thoughts about the Super Sega in the comments below. Do you think this is the real deal? Do you think we're going to get a pretty good product out of this? Or do you think this is vaporware? I'm very curious to know your opinions. From my understanding, review units of this will be going out, so I'd be very curious to see if someone like Video Game Esoterica or Retro Game Core or Taki Udon or MVG or anyone else gets one of these things to really take a look at it and see what's going on. I have my doubts based on everything I've seen here and everything I'm continuing to see with this project. It's so weird. And speaking about YouTube videos, next up we're quickly talking about a YouTube video posted tearing down the PS5 Pro. It's a very interesting video. It's very interesting to see inside this console. The PS5 Pro is consuming a bit more power than the existing PS5, 390 watts versus 350. Which is completely expected given the fact that the PS5 Pro has a bit of extra graphics processing power. Anyways, feel free to check that one out. The PS5 Pro still hasn't launched yet. Next up, we're talking about one of the best mods I've seen for Red Dead Redemption on PC. This one is called Reality Redemption. It boasts smoother gameplay, better draw distances, better lighting, and a whole bunch more here. And I would say performance on this one is looking really good. Everything on this one is looking really good. I mean, if I had to think about what Red Dead Redemption looked like in my mind, this would be it. This is an absolutely fantastic mod in my opinion, and version 2.8 just dropped over on Nexus Mods. Surprisingly, Reality Redemption Overhaul Project is a lot smaller than I thought it would be. It's only about 254 megabytes, and I thought this thing would have been gigs. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and if you've tried it out, let me know your thoughts. And speaking about stuff that starts with R, next up we're talking about the Retroid Pocket 5, and videos of the Retroid Pocket 5 have just started popping up on YouTube, with people giving their first impressions of it. Now, based on what I've seen here, specifically from these 3 videos, is that performance is pretty good on this. It does feature a Snapdragon 865, which was released back in 2019, so the main processor on this one is a little bit dated. But at the same time, it's just over $200. It's not like they're charging $1,000 or anything for this. Overall, it seems like the screen is nice, the form factor is really nice, and people are okay with it. From my understanding, the Retroid Pocket 5 starts shipping on November 14th, and it can play everything up to and including most PS2 games. Now, taking a look at Stubbs' video here over on Retro Handhelds, and he noticed something very interesting. At higher resolutions, the Retroid Pocket Mini outperformed the Retroid Pocket 5. And I'm wondering if it's just the extra horsepower required for that bigger screen or what's going on there. Maybe it'll be fixed in an update. Next up, we're talking about something super interesting. So if you like Doom and you like the Xbox and you like playing Doom on the Xbox BIOS, well, you can now do that. So here is the tweet. Play your original Xbox as Bill Gates truly intended. This is a 100% open source BIOS replacement that does one thing. Plays Doom. Doom BIOS is up on GitHub. It just got its very first release, and the developer of this one says use at your own risk, which is completely understandable given the fact that this is a BIOS. I've got no idea why they did this, but at the same time, where there's a will, there's a way, and well, some people may enjoy it. And speaking about Doom, next up we're talking about Nintendo's new Alarmo. And someone has already hacked the Alarmo to be able to play Doom. It is up and running, it is controllable via the buttons on the top, and this is absolutely ridiculous. Take a look at how they steer the character. I don't know why they did this, but it's awesome in so many ways. I'm not gonna lie here, this may be one of my favorite things about 2024. Let me know your thoughts about the Doom Alarmo in the comments below. Would you be interested in hacking an Alarmo to play Doom like this? What other games would you want to play using the controls? And speaking about interesting projects, next up here we're talking about Zelda Oracle of Ages and Seasons. And someone here is recreating the engine of these games for use in their original fan game. They've got a 2-minute presentation over on X or Twitter, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. They say here that this is an early state and it's a hobby they get to work at in their spare time, so there's no rush on completing anything, and there is no release date just yet. They say updates will be primarily on Twitter or Blue Sky or GameJolt. Let me know your thoughts about this one. And speaking about stuff on Twitter, next up we're talking about Demon's Souls Demastered, which is a mod for Demon's Souls that, yes, you guessed it, demasters the game. So they say here, this mod for Demon's Souls changes all the visuals in the game to be inspired by early From Software games, such as Shadow Tower on the PS1. Included is a PSX shader, low-quality textures, pixel art loading screens, and much more. They say that the pixel art loading screens were commissioned, stuff was hand-drawn, and even more. Let me know your thoughts about this Demaster in the comments below. Would you be interested in playing it? It is up over on Nexus Mods. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.